Don't be too stressed out about things like, everyone is like doing this trend and like, I must follow this trend. It's not a choreo dance as well, so like you deserve to be free in this breaking art. That's what I feel.
So you have to be comfortable with what you do, and to be comfortable with what you do, you have to enjoy what you do. Every single detail, every single movement, you have to enjoy that.
Yeah. We about to rock this joint from the family, and we want y'all all to know that it's time
to rock, y'all. Freak, y'all. To the beat, y'all. It's unique, y'all. Rock, y'all. Freak, y'all. To the beat, y'all. It's unique, y'all.
Hey yo, praise the master. Make plans with your pastor. My rap blast ya, send you to the hereafter. I push a tractor with horses grazing in the pasture. You heard I was tricking the whole room filled with laughter. In ciphers, I'm the one you don't rhyme after. You only know half of the math, it don't add up. Believe bad up, my hits make your frame shatter. Watch me now, just begun like Jimmy Castor. I'm bad luck, just like walking under ladders. Mad rappers, book a life last chapter. Me and my squad build just like contractors. I break shit, you only give hair.
I'm GC, Lost of Nanyang, Flow with Life, TVB. So I started breaking late 2010.
Hi, my name is Shane Abuga. I represent Checkered Minds, Preschool Funk, Aerial Crew, Flow with Life, and I've been breaking for about 9 years.
Okay, first of all, there are like way too many others, like other b-boys that they are way better at ciphering than me. So I feel like it's just my inputs. There's one difference between cipher and battle is like you can be free in a cipher, like you can just play around. And to me, I feel like much less stressed when I go inside a cipher than a battle. It's smaller and I feel like your presence is better in a cipher. Battle you have to keep eye contact. It's like there are way more things in a battle than in a cipher. But cipher is like you can face here, face there, and actually in a cipher you should face every corner of the round, of the circle. And I feel like sometimes if two people jump in the cipher at the same time, first person that gets down is the one who deserves to start. Is the one that should go. But some people, I feel like some people is too aggressive or what. Then this person already gets down and do footwork already, but the standing person is still try to be aggressive, and so I don't like that kind of thing. That's what some of the ethics I learned. Yeah. But anyways, I think there are always more things to discuss about the cipher thing.
Actually, my experience with ciphering, has been kind of changed by different people that I've met. But it's not necessarily I learned it on my own. It's more of discuss and explore the ways of how ciphering works. When I was younger, I learned a lot of different methods of how to cipher. Okay, that's where you have to act a certain way, you have to pay attention to certain details like other people's body language and stuff. And then there's also other people that can tell you it's a place where you can be free and stuff like that. So it's a lot of different opinions and mentalities going into ciphering. So for me personally, I took all of that in, and the most important thing that is considered cipher etiquette in a sense to me personally is your image. For instance, if someone cuts you off in a cipher, how do you present yourself? When you enter, how do you look? When you finish your round, how do you look? Your actual round as well, how are you showcasing what you want to show, so to speak? There are of course different kinds of ciphers where they're more experimental ciphers, there are ciphers where you want to prove a certain point, you want to build your reputation, or even sometimes where you want to call some dude out because you think he's fresh, or you don't like his shoes or something. No matter what, the main cipher etiquette that exists, is basically just what you think of yourself, in my opinion. It's just how you want to show who you are, how you want to show everybody in that circle, or even at that jam, what kind of impression you want to give. You can give a very playful impression with how you cipher, you can give a very serious impression, you can give an impression that you are no chit chat, just business. Do that kind of breaking where you're just in there to just kill it. or you can just give like a very like I'm here to experiment kind of vibe?
Okay, the first reason is we have the ability to do so, because like it's actually a school event that is well funded by the school, and like this is something that like we are very thankful for, because like if like just a group of us, if like a group of b-boys organizing a jams, we'll never have enough money to fly like at least like 4 or 5 people down. So last time like me and Sinfu, we were like discussing like, because we have the capacity, we have the money, we have funding, so like we should do something to contribute back to the scene as NTU Breakers. So like we just have this vision of like making a b-boy jam, but like not really internationally, but like make a local jam with the appearance of international guests. Originally, we also didn't want to like invite very famous international b-boys, but like because like we still want to keep it underground, so like we invite like the people that are less prominent, I would say, but they are really dope. So like the less known people, so that's why like we want to bring them here so that like the scene here can see this kind of people that like don't appear a lot on YouTube, that kind of thing. Yeah. So to me that's my vision of NTU Jam. Yeah.
I can't necessarily speak for the origin of the jam because this is my second year organizing. Yeah, this guy OG, NTU OG. I think the importance of bringing people down, like specifically in that area, is like GC said, to showcase like what other countries have, like more underground people, so to speak, so that like the local scene here can be exposed to different kinds of breaking, so they're not just attuned to what they see locally and what they see on social media. But also another thing that I feel is that Singapore b-boys aren't necessarily appreciated by the local scene itself. Like I feel like there are a lot of like really good b-boys that are completely overlooked by the scene, which is like in a sense okay, because it's just a lack of understanding of breaking, so to speak. That was a very heavy sentence that I said. But like it also shows, like NTU Jam kind of also shows that like locals are more than capable of facing against like other countries, so to speak. So I feel like that competitive element is something that it's enjoyable within NTU Jam. Like personally, I like that. Not saying that like I pick people or we pick people specifically that can be beaten. That's not true.
We discussed a lot.
Yeah, we discussed a lot of who we're gonna bring out. But like whenever we bring someone out, like the criteria number one is that they're underground. Like at that point of time when we pick them, they're somewhat underground. But another factor is also that they really do have something to show. They're really presenting something that is unique and completely different to what our scene is normally exposed to, and just a different side of breaking, a different school of thought, a different just approach in totality. But also for NTU Jam, like as a whole, besides the international guests, what I like about it is also the contribution to the scene in terms of the direction. For instance, like this may not continue in the future, never know. But like last year and this year, like we got B-girls to judge for like this, which is quite rare in Singapore. So we got overseas B-girls to come down and judge, and then there was more of a female presence within the jam, and I feel like that was a very positive impact on the scene, because a lot of the B-girls, like they gained more confidence to come down and stuff, because for a period of time there was a complete lack of B-girls. Not necessarily that they weren't around, but it's more like they just weren't attending jams. And also, one thing I'm excited for this NTU Jam specifically is the exhibition battle for the secondary school kids, because generally the average age of b-boys in Singapore now is around say like 19, 20 to like 22, I would say around there. So like I'm quite excited for that, because we have a bunch of 16-year-olds that are gonna battle and most likely smoke half the people in the building.
What I feel is like it's always good to learn from someone who is not from your scene. That's why like when if I throw down Gerald, when Gerald brings like overseas b-boys down, I always attend the workshop, because it's always good to pick up new things and learn new mindset from that overseas guest. Sometimes if we keep breaking with our circle of friends and we keep like seeing the b-boys in your own scene better, it's like you are very entrapped in this school of thoughts. It's very good for an overseas either is a better guest or judge to come, and then you see something new, and then like you realize that like, oh, actually like there are like more than one approach in breaking, because sometimes like if you stick too long in one scene and you just believe that, oh, this is the only approach, I must follow this. But like once like you see once you attend a workshop for overseas people, you see that, oh, actually like there's more than one way of doing this, and there's more than one mindset. Yeah.
Building with overseas b-boys is one, like DC said, also an exposure to different kind of mindsets, but it's also in a sense of just like a social web, so to speak. So it's like whenever you travel and stuff, right, you are always kind of like in safe hands. You have people that you can trust and stuff like that. So it kind of opens more doors of being comfortable overseas. Let's say we bring Kins from Vietnam for NTU Jam, right? And then like if you talk to him and you really do like have some form of like friendship or connection with him, then it's like the next time you go to Vietnam, you can hit him up. Then he can also like help you to see like what the local scene is like and stuff like that, just as how you would have for Singapore. So everything works vice versa in a sense, and everything has that value. And also it's just like it helps that to have a overseas friend, you know, not necessarily just as a b-boy but as a person, because you get to see another like way of life, but also you get to see another way of breaking as well. So everything just like comes together. And yeah, so building such connections is really important. Not necessarily just as a dancer, but as a person as well, because essentially you want to learn as much as possible. I don't know, like I think confidence is just from within. So when it comes to having to, it's just up to the individual whether they want to put in the effort or not. Whether they want to put the effort to be in somewhere uncomfortable, to be able to connect with someone new, it's purely up to them. They can't necessarily be forced, they can be introduced, but that's the bare minimum. That's all that can be done, honestly. For people that intimidate, like no external factor can really come in and save you from that. You just have to be a sociable person. If you're not, then you have to learn to be. You don't necessarily have to be all the time, but you just have to learn when the time is right, when the time is wrong. And the instance of like, for instance, like NTU Jam, or like even RJam Final Throwdown, like where there are other people from outside that you probably never meet on a normal basis, that's the point of time where you should pick for yourself to be social and go and talk to them and learn from them what they have to say, what they have to offer, and they'll most likely learn from you as well. So you have to remember that, and that adds into your own confidence.
Actually, I'm not that sociable. So like, let's say for the NTU Jam, right, because they are the guests that I invite, so I can interact with them. But like, let's say other people's events, and for example, Final Throwdown, the guests like Stripes and Riley. So like, I wouldn't dare to approach them, because like I feel like first thing is like I should respect the organizers, because like the organizers are the ones that pay the money to fly people down. They are the ones that actually organize all the workshops and stuff. So if you like, you just like use this chance to like hustle and like try to stick too close to the guests, and like you sort of like it's just not nice. And there's a fine line between sociable and like hustling. Yeah. But like, the thing is like, usually if you want to interact with the guests, right, there's a very good place to do that, which is the after party. So like it's a chance for you to like sort of like approach and like ask like what's his impression of you, and like what kind of advice he would give you, because it's always good to hear advice from the overseas guests. Yeah. So but there's always a fine line. So like don't be afraid, but at the same time don't be too thick-skinned, I would say. Yeah. But if like they want to talk to you, they will come and talk to you, that kind of thing. But yeah. But okay, so what I always believe in is like is not science or engineering aspect, but this breaking is more like an art. There's no right or wrong, but like you should learn from as many people as you can. And then like when you go and learn, then like you can pick up the things that work for you. But before this, right, you should know your body well. You should know your approach. You should understand your body, understand your approach. And then like you attend workshops, you talk to people, then you pick up the things that works for you. And the things that don't really work for you, you can put it aside, you can revisit them later. Don't be too stressed out about like things like everyone is like doing this trend, and like, I must follow this trend. Everyone is like wearing these shoes, I must wear these shoes, and everyone is training this move, and I must wear this move. It's not a choreo dance as well, so like you deserve to be free in this breaking art. That's what I feel. Yeah, and that creates a diversity in breaking styles as well. Brush up with foundations, like don't pursue the trends and the moves if you don't have the basics, kind of thing. Yeah, but eventually you just have to be free and be yourself.
Never take things for granted, always have gratitude. Like for instance, like event organizers, people that teach workshops, people that teach classes, people that have come before you, always have some form of gratitude because you wouldn't be where you are. You know, like every single factor, small factor in life matters, you know? Like how, like yeah, it's just everything matters, everything paves your way for you. And so these people pave the way for breaking to be in your life now. So just have gratitude towards that. In terms of breaking, no matter what, first of all, hard work always pays off. No matter what you want, hard work always pays off. But at the end of the day, as long as you're happy with yourself, nobody can stop you. No one can take happiness away from you. So at the end of the day, that's like the ideal goal. As long as you are happy, no matter what, I know it's somewhat cliche, but foundation always comes first. And then from there, like experimentation. Because no matter what, one thing that I always find important is that you have to be comfortable. Like breaking is a game of comfort, so you have to be comfortable with what you do, and to be comfortable with what you do, you have to enjoy what you do. Every single detail, every single movement, you have to enjoy that. And that's all I can think of. It's a bit sporadic, but yeah.
This one is
No limit. I had KFC for lunch. Like, what's up, Farhan?
I had spaghetti bolognese.
Shout out to all my best friends in my life. Let's start. Okay. Shout out to my crews, Checker Minds, Preschool Fong, Aerial Crew, Full of Life. Shout out to everyone that has been always in the scene, supporting it. Shout out to also those who let it grow in the first place. Yeah, shout out to those who work hard and really like try and just keep to themselves as much as possible. When I say that, I mean just to try and really be themselves. And shout out to Chops for this interview.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you to like everyone I've met in the breaking scene, because I actually I would say that I learned the most in my life from B-boys and B-girls. People in this breaking scene, both locally and internationally, I just want to give you all a shout out, because I learned a lot from you guys. And last but not least, shout out to Chops for inviting us to do this interview, because we feel like if the first person is Farhan, so we don't deserve we don't deserve this slot. Like there should be someone who is our senior, because we actually quite junior in this game. Yeah, so I appreciate Chops for approaching us. Yeah. Your right profile, left profile nicer.
Hey, normally my left. But then I get more acne on my left.
Introduce myself.
Introduce his sister. A lot of people are very good now. Life sucks.
GC is like forever there.
Yeah, GC is just the guy at NTUGEM. When GC is gone, NTUGEM's gone. I'm gonna establish that now. Singapore scene is okay, except for Clarence. Can you give to GC? I've been talking a lot.
Yeah. That's my inputs. Yeah. Actually, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I figured halfway.
Yeah. Let's say the last year. What's his name?
Stripes.
Oh, Stripes. Yeah. Okay, this one cut now. Let's say for. Okay, restart.
That was very personal, yeah. I thought you were gonna start crying, yeah.
Fuck, no.